Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. Today, my name is Erasmus. Today, we're going to be looking and analysing the logistics management process of a product level industry, the global toy industry. In looking into this topic, we'll discuss the logistics structures regarding inventory management, supply chain management, and transportation. To show the application of these theories, I'll be using the global toy brand Mattel as an example. Before I get into the specifics of the supply chain, I'd like to highlight the key influence in the industry, which has shaped the logistics strategy of the most successful players in the industry. And this is that toys are an ever-changing product that needs to be innovated and adapted to society's needs and expectations constantly. These products can be highly unpredictable in demand, which can result in massive costs in obsolete inventory, lost sales, and markdown. This is unpredictable demand is largely due to the short product life cycle and specific selling windows of the products. And these issues can cause loss in speculative stock, cyclic stock. So what does the supply chain look like? Companies like Mattel follow what we see in this diagram as an ultimate supply chain. Many companies as of this size capitalize on low labor costs and manufacture in countries such as China and Mexico. Some of these plants are owned by Mattel and some are owned by external suppliers. These plants source from initial suppliers of plastics, electronic components, paints, and textiles to create the toys which are ordered and received by the local distributors. These distributors then sell to local distribution parks such as department stores, Maya and Target, Kmart, that kind of thing. So, which is where the end user will then come along and make the final purchase of the product. This supply chain is complex as it requires international transactions, ordering at multiple stages, and a fast turnaround to ensure speed to market is maximized while pipeline stock costs are minimized. Large toy manufacturers with high brand power like Mattel are generally classified as what you can see here, a type 1 manufacturer. Their strategy is mass production with infrequent replenishment to achieve a higher efficiency in a responsive and cost-effective supply chain. In order to become more responsive to consumer demands, many toy manufacturers are moving to a model where demand is met with innovative products via a quick response supply chain, while functional products are being supplied via an efficient supply chain. This strategy requires less push market mediation as the manufacturers are more capable of fulfilling the changing volume and demand mix. In order to meet demand, some manufacturers in this category set up local packaging and distribution centers closer to their markets to reduce their lead times. So how does the distribution look? Most toy manufacturers' biggest customers are department stores. As I've mentioned, these are classified as main order retailers and focus on 60% push, 40% pull demand patterns. These retailers order from distribution centers mostly in carton and pallet sizes, which means distribution centers are generally equipped for larger and fewer orders. In-store retailing generally requires transportation methods dictated by the buyer, which can sometimes result in lower return rates from the retailers. Technological advancements have streamlined the ordering and forecasting process for large manufacturers, as they are more freely able to access the point of sale information of their retailers. This returns data from the retailer up through to the distributors and can help with managing the demand of the product. By implementing this kind of technology and ERP systems, large companies have been able to minimize out-of-stock costs, oversupply, and markdown loss. What else has technology done? Well, we expect the online shopping situation, but it's a little bit different. Supply chains for many super toy manufacturers such as Mattel mean that selling online directly to consumers can be very cost inefficient and costly. This is because their warehouses are set up for large batch orders and not unit picking. So the company has bridged that gap to meet their consumers online by creating a platform which directs users to their closest retailer. You can see that in that advance here. So what's the importance of this supply chain management? Well, I've mentioned some of the costs, but the quality control is a crucial outcome of supply chain management. And when handled incorrectly, companies face massive losses in consumer trust and maybe far worse, have to recall their products. Many companies with supply chains such as Mattel who deal with products with high product variability and demand and volatility are required to establish strict supply and material guidelines with their manufacturing partners to determine where raw materials come from. When Mattel failed at this in 2007, they were forced to recall the greatest number of products due to a high amount of lead and paint used by their overseas suppliers. So in summary, and just a little outline of some of the challenges that companies like Mattel still face when managing their supply chain, according to industry research, they face limited knowledge and strategy to maintain the management of the seasonality and volatility of their products. The second thing that they're facing is achieving the Type 2 manufacturing status while still implementing new technologies and products. And finally, product traceability through the supply chain management. I hope you've been able to learn something new through this today, and thank you so much for coming and listening.